Hey guys, welcome back to NNKH out here in Frenchtown, New Jersey with the Goose Man, and just found a 1962 Ford Thunderbird. It's been sitting a very long time. He actually had this posted for free, but then I guess started getting some offers. So I got it for $150. Let's see if we're winning or losing. At first glance, it's not pretty. It's been sitting a long time. Gus, you want to come do some sniffs on this or what? Come on, Bubs. I mean, fairly straight. We got some stainless trim on here, if nothing else. He said he doesn't even know if the engine's in it, but he assumed it would be. Missing the stainless on here, which, look at that. Okay, actually doubles as the door handle too. This is really buried in here. Probably gonna rip in half when we pull it out. Or, you know, I'll have to dig it out first too, but look at the styling on this. I love that rounded console. This goes in so deep too. And this will give you an idea of, I mean, how long it's been sitting. Like, who left that on there? Got 98,795 miles. This probably has the 390 in it. Come on, Gus. Come over here. These thorns are getting me. What do you think, boy? First sniffs. You like it? He doesn't seem too impressed. I'm running down the passenger side. You can see it had a big old dent here at some point. Looks like a dent puller was used, bondoed up, and this is why you just leave body work alone, because you fill it with Bondo, the rust is coming back anyway, you know? Leave the dent is what I meant to say. All right. We got no keys, no title. Let's load her up and see what we're dealing with. Right, Gus? He's like, why did you bring me here? This is all a bunch of poison ivy in here too. Luckily, neither of us really get that, so not a problem. I don't know what's up with the dirt. It's all loose, so it should pull right out. The worst is when you get something like this in the winter and it's frozen down in. Hey, you're always digging. Why don't you help me dig? Come here, boy. Come on, guys. What's that? What's that? What is it? Mommy would kill me if she saw me let you go under there. Actually doesn't feel terribly rusty under here. Now, like always, I'll start without the snatch block, but we're probably gonna need it. Just pulling us back. She's snatch blocked, and I know these are rated for synthetic rope, but that's all I got right now. So I don't have to work. Probably gonna end up having to dig this out on that side, but I'm not terribly worried if it rips apart. Now, it's almost like someone just parked this right on top of a big pile of dirt. Like, I don't get it. That's nice. Wow. Have to tie that up before we hit the road. Gave her a little relief. Let's see what that does. I think she's finally going. Yes. There we go. You know, I get the vibe this car was thinking its owner was never coming back for it. But don't worry, old Thunderbird. I'm here to do something with you. Or at least give you a proper burial and save some parts. See why you're not supposed to use that on the steel cable, as it kind of gouged it all up. Still plenty usable, but if you use it with synthetic rope, it's liable to damage the rope. Probably should have had this sheath over here too, because that's the part that's, you know, sliding or rotating. Yeah, didn't cause any damage at all to it. You ready to go, Bubs? Yeah, it connects out this way. So the story on this place, by the way, this house apparently has a bunch of squatters in it, and this lady from out of town just bought the place. She's just trying to clear it off, and so she's like, watch out for those people. You know, they didn't mess with me, but it's a beautiful old farm property, and just about a mile outside of the little town of, or hamlet of Frenchtown, along the Delaware River. We still just have a little stop traffic signal in town. Surprised there's no traffic light here yet. National Hotel. Beautiful ride down 29 along the Delaware River. And now we're coming into Stockton. So this bridge is a 5-ton weight limit, but we should be fine. Get out on the river, right, Gus? Yeah, he says, what are we messing around with this junk for? Let's get out on the boat. Rev it down. Speed limit strictly enforced. It's one thing I love about the area we live in. Like, this isn't taking the back way home. I mean, this is the main corridor, Route 32, and it's just, you go through so many awesome little towns. What do you think, Gus? She's got it. She has like 7 feet. And now we're coming through the quaint village of New Hope. Or I guess it's a borough, but same difference. I've been seeing carpenter ants all over this. Not going to drag it into the garage just yet. I guess let's get the hood open, see how the engine's looking. I'm seeing evidence that somebody's already tried getting this hood open. There's a few bolts removed. I don't think they were successful though. It seems these have a side latch on them. And it does have a hood release inside, but that is locked up pretty darn good. Figured take this off before I go damaging it. Strip the hood handle off. Well, the hood is kind of trashed anyway, so. I know you guys don't like to see things done this way, but all this is corroded and the chrome is coming off, really pitted and missing chunks. So that stuff's not really savable. The stainless is still good though. Hit the hinges with a little lube. There we go. Oh no, it's missing the air cleaner. And you can see the rodents have been hanging out here a long time. So yeah, I think this it's gonna be locked up. Looks like 390, right? Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think that might be all these came with based on what I was reading. I was talking about before is you could see somebody recently took these 2 bolts out trying to get the hood open, but they did not succeed because it had the outer latches. And even though the cable's locked, I bet you these latches in here are completely seized up. So that one just cut it off the hood, and this one just cut right through. We got the old school interstate battery just flopping in the wind. Bone dry up there is to be expected. Black oil at the low mark. Also, we got a spare rad hose sitting here, super soft, and yeah, you can see that blew out. Wow, this thing feels like Play-Doh. A little bit of rust starting onto the inside of the power steering, but we're up to level in there. Oh, it is a power steering, power brake car. I don't know if they all came with that or not. Obviously, no AC, based on the fan you guys saw in there and the lack of the compressor. The fuel hose dry as can be. Thunderbird. Well, next step is pulling the plugs. We'll get a bore scope in there. See this plug wire, something chewed it off. I'm gonna guess this engine is completely locked up, just based on what I'm seeing so far. But no sense in getting a breaker bar on there until we see what the cylinders look like. Number 5, very rusty. Not good. I mean, at least they're coming out easy though. A little bit of rust in that one too. That's number 6. A few of these are not too far off of breaking. And things are not looking good. Rusty plugs equals rusty cylinders. Luckily, we got the articulating borescope with dual cameras. Link to these things down below if you guys don't already have one. Consider, because they are a real lifesaver. Being able to swivel the head around, you know. A lot of different brands. Just get the one that's on sale is what I always say. Oh wow, this hose is just the heater core hoses is ripped right in half. So number 1 piston is at top dead center. Number 2, oh my gosh. And number 3, right out of the gate, we got some cobwebs and severe rust. Yes, this is seized. Number 4, looking the best out of all of them, just some surface rust. Over on the driver's side, we got number 5, tonic rust, looking decent over there though. Number 6, just about at TDC. Number 7, this was the problem plug getting out. And coincidentally, it is probably the worst cylinder too. Well, actually that doesn't look horrible. And lastly, number 8. All right, that's doable. See, when you see cylinders like that, it's like, okay, no problem. The passenger side was considerably worse, I think. Looking down that 4-barrel cast iron intake, just a bunch of powdery corrosion from the carb. Going against the reasoning that this should be just going to the junkyard right now, we're gonna pour some diesel, ATF, and acetone mix down. Let that work its way into the cylinders. And I will let that sit overnight, see what happens. And since it probably didn't make it into each cylinder, I'll give each one some blaster. Let that soak in. Because unless you want it spilling all over the driveway, you can't just pour it in the intake. That's been soaking overnight. Let's see if we can get this engine budging over. Thing's bolted down on the bottom too. It's a heavy rad, or it's full of junk. First look under this car, it's actually not as rotted as you would think. It's in pretty solid, good shape. Luckily these J-hooks didn't bend up the control arms pulling it out. There's a lot of force on it. I mean, the exhaust is all still there. The floor pans are not rusted through. Whole belt ripped. Alternator locked up, not helping the case. Water pump's locked up too. Wow. So it needs one of those. Tighter than it can be. Obviously, we saw the cylinders. I just had my leg leaning against this and it completely fell off on the other side. And only 3 bolts on the pulley. This actually made out of aluminum too. High performance. That gets this a little closer. I can just cut these off and it'll fit. We're gonna just make a new engine rotating tool, and I could use this nice chunk, but then I opened up my pullers drawer and look at this. I never use it. It's a puller for something, but custom made, so we'll just weld this nut on and drill the appropriate holes, and that's the perfect size. Look, no cutting necessary at all. Perfect size to fit in there. I got the holes marked on here. Let's see if I can just burn them out real quick. Woo! That's one way to drill a hole. Much easier to start on an edge. Like this one. Yeah, edge cut, much better. That'll hold. I'm gonna go one more time just for extra measure. I don't want to hit the inside because I don't want to damage the threads though. Now if I bolt this right to it, I get a lot of up and down play. So for extra strength, put it inside of this aluminum pulley. That way as it wants to shear off the bolts, it will side load this. Grade 8 bolts. Let's see what they're made of. Start with this light duty breaker pipe. Guys, I'm feeling hungry, and that's why it's a perfect time to thank the sponsor of this video, Factor. Now I'm always on the run. I like a quick meal, but I don't like BK Lounge or Mickey D dogs. I do like a fresh, never frozen meal that's quick. You just stab the cover a couple times, throw it in the microwave for 2 minutes, and just like that, I can sit back, enjoy this delicious chicken Florentine with cauliflower. Even the Gus man smelled it and came running. Let's see if, oh, all right, well, I'd call that Goose Man approved. Now that was a delicious, stress-free meal, and with no cleanup, I can run right back out in the garage. Factor meals are chef-crafted, always fresh, never frozen, and they have 35 different weekly options. You can also try out one of their 60 different add-on options, like this cold brew latte protein shake. Well, if you want to find out how yummy and convenient these meals are for yourself, then head to factor75.com and use code NoNonsense50 to get 50% off your first box, along with 20% off your next month's order. That's factor75.com. Use code NoNonsense50 for 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month's orders. Now let's dive back into the video. Yeah, let's see if we can get her budging without shearing the key or breaking the crankshaft. I saw a little something there. Or is that just twisting? What was that? Oh, he had a key sheared. Oh no. The harmonic balancer broke. All right. Guess I can't be too shocked. So you see the key won that battle, but actually a closer look, you see it split at the bolt hole. It's probably because my holes weren't perfectly drilled, so it was loading one bolt up at a time. That's enough to cause the cast iron to break. Should have drilled them. If we had got this budging, I was then going to pull the valve covers and tap the valves and make sure none of those are locked up. Would have been a good day, but I'm going to call her pooched for now. We'll let it soak longer, and I need this trailer for another job today, so gotta bring this over to a place where it's going to rest and we can part it out. Let's get over there. I'll show you where it's going to go. I wonder what's in this trunk too. Somebody already kind of pulled it up on the side. Oh, the air cleaner might be in there. No dead bodies. Just the bumper jack, hubcap. What's that? Oh, that's a block of brass. A little brass hammer. It's nice. Probably worth like $5, $10 in scrap. Wow, that's a heavy duty jack. I like it. I'm keeping that one. This is No chintzy metal. What else? What else? Spare tire. Oh, another bumper jack. That's an interesting looking one. See, those teeth wear out. Yeah, we got an air cleaner and bottle jack. This guy liked these bumper jacks. I'm seeing 3 or 4 in here. What's this thing? Oh, like a luber or something. All right, that's all I had to see in there. There's no bags of money. I mean, this was a nice score though. Last long safety hammer. Last long. Number 2. It's got a patent on it. It's good as money right there. Actually, heck, that's better than paper money. That, you know, value might change, but it'll never be worthless. Invest in metals. Physically, that is. Got a couple cool old plates. More down here. Yeah. Another harmonic balancer. Missing the rubber and the pulley. This is probably cast, but we can weld a nut right to this if we decide to try it again later. Yeah, that's the right size. Well, she's gonna rest there for probably a few weeks to a month, have it listed at $400. That's probably what it's worth in scrap, and I'd rather see it go to somebody that's gonna use some of the stuff over scrap. If nothing happens in the next few weeks, it's off to the crusher for it. So will it run? No, not without a rebuild or pouring acid down the cylinders. And what's the point of that? Because you're gonna end up having to rebuild it anyway. It's like Mad Max, end of the world? Absolutely. All right, a couple days later, I'm back over here to show the Thunderbird to a potential buyer. Looks like they moved it though. Chris.
I'm Bob Hess. I do crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah. I
Nice
make
to meet you, Bob.
those kits that make a Thunderbird look like a 49 Ford.
Okay.
Did you look that up, Easy Rod?
No, I didn't look it up yet. I'll have to check you out though. You do that as like a business?
Well, I did for years. It's timed out now, but we sold about 650 kits. So you take a Thunderbird and you take the hood and front fenders off and the trunk lid and taillights, and you bolt on these fiberglass parts.
Okay.
Then I designed another kit that makes a Camaro, a 93 to 02 Camaro, look like a 57 Chevy. And for people that are not in car business, I tell them it's like bath fitters for cars. What you do is you take the stock parts off the hood and front fenders and you put these parts on, it goes right over the car, it makes it look like a 57 Chevy.
How about that? So here is, apparently there's actually a 61. Somebody was messaging me about.
Yes, it is. Yes,
yeah.
it is 61.
Yeah, I was told it's a 62.
So
I never looked into it.
I've always loved these cars. I've never owned one. My cousin has had 3 of them. And
got some goodies in there.
For many years
jacks.
I did rust repair. And fixed frames and floors and springs popping through trunks and torsion bars twisting out. Company called Auto Rust Doctors, and then it turned into a street rod shop doing subframes and where you put a lot of old pickup trucks on S10 frames. And then the kits I'm talking about, basically I took an original Thunderbird and an original 50 Ford and welded the Thunderbird fenders, the 49 Ford fenders to the Thunderbird fenders, did a little bit of body work and made a fiberglass mold of it. So this car being so far gone, I'm looking at it, it still has the shape and stuff.
Yeah,
I may be looking at finding a Crown Vic.
Okay, yeah.
And just skinning the outside onto a Crown Vic.
I do still have the rest of the stainless trim as well in my truck. I took the pieces off that were kind of loose.
Oh, the other side?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think one of them was missing.
Yeah, you
But,
see,
so what do you got to take some measurements and then...
actually, that's what I would like to do. You
okay,
know?
yeah, let me give you a hand. No deal, unfortunately. He took some measurements and it's not going to work for the project he had in mind. On to the next one. Well, since this didn't sell today, I decided to stop back down here late tonight, had a few moments, and try to crank over the engine again. I took that harmonic balancer we found in the trunk, and I welded the heck out of it to this steel pulley. It's cast iron, and then weld a nut to that. Oh, let's get this on. I mean, I'm not gonna be happy until we break this crankshaft in half, or maybe we'll get it up in there and try to budge it over with the flywheel. Definitely not pulling the heads. Something else I did on this is I took a bearing race, which you guys know how hard and strong those are, and I welded that to the cast iron on the inside. So this thing is like, this is really strong. It should shear a key or break a shaft before this goes. And that's all the way on. And remember, this is not the right way to do it. You would pull the engine and rebuild it. But actually, the smart thing would be just go buy one for a few $100 that's already running. And this is all for fun. Here we go. Okay. Again, it should shear that key before it breaks anything, would be my guess. Oh, what was that? I think it went. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Now we just gotta walk her back and forth and hope the crank didn't break. Actually, I'm sorry, before anything else, pull the valve covers, see what the valves are doing. Whoo! What? Looks like anti-seize, or maybe that's just because moisture got up in there over the years. Or maybe this thing was already blown before we got to it. Lots of nasty stuff inside of here. Same deal on the other side. Or I guess it could just be the condensation over all the years. That's the sound we're looking for. Right there, oh yeah. Oh, see, that one went down and didn't come up, but then it started moving a little bit. You heard the sound difference? See, there you go. That one went down, did not come back up. Now the rocker is loose as can be. I'm sorry, the push rod. You see, and there's a big gap there. There you go, that's a sticking valve. So hopefully we hit it a few more times and that'll just loosen up. That's an exhaust valve. There it goes, pop back up. Yeah, I think what we'll do now is remove the rocker arm shaft. It's so much easier than individual rockers. And these push rods don't actually flow oil through them. How about that? You can tell I work on these all the time, right? Now let's give a listen. Okay, bad sound. Good. Bad. Good. So you see, it's all the exhaust valves that are the ones not coming back up. Just scared the heck out of me. There's a bunch of rocks that started falling down a mound over there. I don't know if you guys heard that. This one and this one are hanging down a little bit. After some persuasion, I got them all pretty much as high as they can go. Oh, they're much better on this side, much better. They're all opening and closing. I can verify that with putting the file across to see if any are abnormally low. They're not. We can safely crank the engine over now. If I thought there was any chance this distributor would come out and not be seized, I'd take it out and prime the oil pump, but... Oh yeah. Oh, it stops going clockwise. We'll just keep going back and forth till we get that rust blown out. long this engine's gonna run for, but it will run. Timing chain's good. I see the push rod's moving. We're ready for some starter motor action. Mad Max, baby. Last of the V8s. Some voltage to this. Any guesses if the starter solenoid's still gonna work? Or starter motor? I'm gonna say probably not. Oh, solenoid's going. Yeah! Here we go. Let me, I want to shoot oil all over my toolbox. Get this stuff closed up. Yeah, buddy! Sounds pretty good, and all the push rods going up and down, so that means the lifters aren't seized in the bore or nothing. We don't have a lot of moisture in this engine. We got a bunch of black oil that came up on both sides too. Give you a look at that oil flow. You see, actually it's working its way into the cylinders now too a little bit, but it comes out of this hole on each side. And that's how it makes its way in for oiling everything. And since it seems all the valves are closing, I just bolted the rocker arms back down, and let's give her a crank over. Okay. Yeah. And we got compression everywhere except for this front cylinder for some reason, just zero. Let's bore scope this number one, see why we don't have any compression. Got it on all the other ones. Have a hole in the piston or anything? No, looks good. Let's take a look at the valves. They're both closed right now. Should be anyway. I think that exhaust is just hanging up still. That's why we don't have compression. So that'll come back to life. Yeah, that's just not closing fully. Let's take a look at these points now. Nothing the file can't fix. Oh yeah, they're very, very corroded. But that'll work just fine. Look at all that powder. Let's see if that did it. Oh, no spark yet. Oh, we took so much off that we gotta re-gap them. How about spark now? Oh yeah. Good. Red spark, not blue, but I've got our spark plugs ran, dropped in a better battery. And cylinder number one, I just left the compression gauge on since we don't have any compression, but plugs are in. Let's hear what a crank sounds like with that. We don't have the spark hooked up yet, but here we go. All right, not bad. Let's hook up the spark now. And carburetor's soaking since the linkage is all seized in that, so that'll have to be tomorrow. But I'll give it a quick shot of some start fluid, see what that does. Probably a little bit more. Big old V8. This is not how she wants to wake up, but here we go. There it goes. See how this carburetor's doing. It's been soaking in diesel ATF acetone. Linkage was completely locked up, but it's had a couple days. No, still locked up. Well, after some shock therapy and thermal persuasion, I wasn't able to get these throttle shafts broken loose, but I figured next day I'll just rob the Holly off my airboat. And I also wanted to grab some new spark plugs, but then ran into this guy who was stranded at the gas pump. His car jacked up, starter motor bolts came loose. You give me the holler when you're ready. He couldn't get the bolts back in, so he's gonna have me, he's gonna try to hold it with his hand as I start the starter motor in there. He's been here for a while. I was trying to help him get the starter back bolted up, but it went, what's that?
Did I need the pliers out there? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, here we go. There you go, nice. All right, now just gotta feather the throttle, keep him running here. So he's got an O2 sensor issue. Don't let it stall. He's trying to get the starter bolted back on, but the starter solenoid bolts, the little guys, were all blown apart. It needs a new starter. Oh, he's lucky to get that last start out of it and then get it home.
Jack's there real fast.
Yeah, take time. Will it idle if I let it down or
It'll
no?
die. It'll
Okay,
die all
all
of a
right.
sudden.
Got it. Yep. Take time.
It's been running good today, but I didn't go far.
All right. You gonna be able to get? You good? All right.
Ready? Go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Good luck, man. I'll see you. All right. You got some spark plugs. Surprisingly, out of all my plugs at home, I don't have any that have the big thread plugs. You don't see these too much anymore. You know what? I'm gonna stop over at the Junkyard too. Junkyard Barbie pick apart. See if we can find a carburetor. Probably not. Yes, the pick apart. Haven't been here in a while. Oh, some nice graffiti. It's not often that you'll still find carburetors in a junkyard. Man, look at those slicks. But I just asked him and he said up in this front corner there's some old stuff that you might find a 4-barrel on. There you go. Spread bore is missing. 2-barrel Motorcraft. That's actually one of the Amazon special ones. You can tell just by looking at the metal and the screws. Yeah, plenty of carburetors here. That's what I'm talking about. Not a 2-barrel though. A Le Mans wagon. It's not often. They must have just got a collection from somebody recently, because you never see a Tempest wagon, Le Mans. You don't see this kind of stuff at my local junkyard. But I guess you never know what you're gonna see. What is this? I'm getting way off topic now. I got a fastback Mustang that somebody was doing a bunch of sheet metal work too. This is like a 73. We got the slapper bars on there. Wow, man, this is actually like a decently solid third. And 73. Got cracked up there. But this thing is, look at the floors in it. And look at that, we got a 66 Thunderbird. Last inspected 1989. Let's see what we got. Darn. Now the rest of the stuff here is a lot newer, fuel injected. Could try the boats or RVs, but they actually close in 10 minutes, so. Look at this pay liner, that thing is deep. The hull itself, it's a 2155. It's like 8 foot deep. Sea Ray. Yeah, 2-barrel. This is a nice piece. The solid fiberglass swim deck. Wonder if that has any wood in it. Nice to retrofit that to a different boat that doesn't have one like this. Oh, you got stainless trim tabs on there too. Man, lots of good stuff here for anybody that's crafty. A 3.0 in this? What? This boat must have been a turd. Imagine a little 3-liter 4-cylinder pushing that. What you gotta do, 25 mile an hour? Or I'm sorry, knots. 20 knots, right? That was a fun pit stop. Off to our next option. Yes, the airboat Holly 4-barrel. That should fit. I've actually been meaning to take this off and look at it anyway, because for some reason the secondaries don't open on this under full load, and I don't know if it's just because this carb is too big or what the deal is, but it's got vacuum secondaries and they don't open. So might be able to get a lot more power out of this. Clear prop. Oh, they have no battery. You see this has got the adapter on it to be able to use the Holly, but this should bolt right on to the Ford, I think. And voila. Hitting all 8. of blow-by coming through the crankcase, and of course all the oil burning off, but there it is. Will it run? Yes, just a little persuasion. Why? Because I got problems, that's why. But I mean, hey, it'll probably sell a little quicker now. Had this thing up for $400 for many days now and no takers yet. But now I can update the listing and say, it's a running 390. Well, I've heard enough. Good running engine, we're not gonna overheat her. And yeah, let's see if we can get a buyer now. I'm taking that carb, obviously, for my airboat. We're not gonna drive it. It's not gonna be a driver in this video. It's just not gonna happen. On this Holly too, I have checked the secondary's diaphragm, which is in here, and that works. If you blow air past these, the secondary's open. Actually, I meant blow past this port on the primary side. You see when those primaries are fully opened and you get velocity past, then the secondaries will open like that. So that's what makes me think this is just too big for the Caddy 500. That Cadillac engine is just not flowing enough air for them to work. I'll have to do some more research or just put a Quadrajet back on it. All right, we got a buyer lined up finally. $400 and going to the perfect guy that just needs it for parts. They're fixing up a 62 and they need a bunch of stuff off of this, and then probably pull the engine and junk it. What's that? Oh yeah, wow, that's a strong frame on this. This is a nice rollback. 22-foot bed he said on it. Those hydraulic winches are just night and day strength-wise over electric one. So that wraps up the 61 Thunderbird. He's just got to throw some more straps on it, get the hood tied down, the door skins, the trunk, a bunch of other stuff. Just noticing this van's full of stuff, and look at these valve covers. Off probably a boat. You ever see a valve cover that corroded?
No, never have.
That must have been some Chinesium that sat in the salt water.
Yeah, salt water.
Oh, you know what? Maybe it's, I don't know. Let's say plastic that was in a fire. Yeah, that's what it is. It's not aluminum. Could fool you though. Got a little update here on the 6.5 by 12 trailer we got at the auction for $1,200, full of all that junk on there. Well, I was able to sell just all the boat parts and recoup $1,100 already. So I got to keep aircraft cable, davits, a bunch of other odds and ends. And now I've decided I'm gonna put some love into this. So I dropped it over my buddy Nick's place. He's working on his Ford right now, but he's gonna scrape the rust off, slap a coat of paint on, and let's see, I'm gonna get a new tongue on order. We're gonna kind of beat the rust out of here a little bit, you know, smack it with a hammer, get it out of there, right? And then the gate, re-weld new bungs on here to get that up. I think this C channel back here, I'm gonna cut this, have them cut it right in the middle across the whole thing. That drags on the ground when you go over things. I don't think it has to be that heavy duty. This trailer is like overkill. Also got a new light kit. What do you think? Easy work?
Yeah, totally bad.
Cool. So yeah, Nick's gonna get this thing looking tip top, and then just wanted to get a little before shot so you guys can see how pretty she looks when it's all done. Nick's over here doing the floors in his van. What got you tearing up them? You were just
putting in new seats.
putting in new seats. He kind of opened a can of worms, but what are you putting? Sheet metal down or?
Nah, I think I got a diamond plate, 1/4-inch thick diamond plate across it.
Nice, that'll do it. Good old 91 Econoline. Got some rusty ground out there. Custom made bumper, custom rear windows. It's a sweet utility rig right there. You gotta love these old Econolines. You lounging out on the deck or what? And a couple weeks later, just picked this back up off of him and check it out. We're looking beautiful. It's not just the top either. He went ahead and scraped the rust on the bottom and painted all the cross members. Maybe missed a spot or two, but I can tell just by looking at it that he definitely ran a wire wheel over this because the rust was bulging a ton. I just went ahead and hit this with some TWP too, the deck, so we get that treated real good. Now, the tailgate, I don't know if this is gonna hold up because, see, he welded a pin on this side and over there, and it used to have, we used to have a lot more than that, but not a big deal. I mean, we'll see. I mean, the welds are questionable. You see, he ran Sawzall across that whole thing, got that C-channel cut, so that's real good. But yeah, these welds, I was looking at them over on the spare tire too. I might end up having to redo this. The spare tire, the welds on that, so he put this plate on, and I mean, I don't know. I might have to end up redoing that because I don't want to risk that falling off. It's on there. Let's give it a real test. The entire weld just broke off. Look how much surface area. Oh, you guys got to see this. I don't know if he used a galvanized plate or we got to get Nick a new welder because that is insane. I mean, a small bead shouldn't have came off that easy. It's a good thing I checked. How's the other side gonna do? All right, that one's a little bit more on there. So based on how that held up, I'm gonna see, I'll have to redo the pins on the gate. I don't want that falling off going down the road. Oh man, look at it, there was just no penetration at all. You gotta get him a new welder. Maybe he was using some kind of lead wire. Like what was that? That's unfortunate. On a positive note, it does look good. The paint job came out nice. You see, he left the VIN tag on there and taped that off. Speaking of bad welds, remember when I bought this, we had these super crusty, actually, what is that? Yeah, that's a weld down there too. And these little guys, so I never trusted those at all. Of course, it has the bolts. But we got rid of the brakes on this trailer, cut the lines out. See, I gotta redo the chain too. I don't know if that popped off on somebody before. We're gonna get rid of the hydraulic coupler. Well, let's see how these ones hold up after taking the bolts out. See, these welds are ugly, but they're more of just like an anti-wiggle weld. That's terrible. We'll hit the inside with some surface shield, even though that's gonna burn off a little bit when we weld it. Probably should have done that after. Pretty skimpy welds up on the frame rails for how thick this is, but that had penetration, so it held for all those years. Gave those welds a second coat. Now we can put this on. Some would say that's good enough. I would not. There you go. Not the prettiest welds in the world, but it is overkilled. I can confidently say this is going to bend and rip off before those welds fail. I even hit it on the bottom and the front and each side. We're through bolted. I mean, that's just overkill. I was going to fill these top holes in, but again, I don't have that weldable primer, so I could always take like some thick oil and let that run down in there, and then whatever. That's a little ridiculous, honestly. But yeah, we don't want no rust jacking, moisture getting in there. Let me get that oil to run down. We'll hit it with the surface shield on the inside too, and then we'll weld those shut. Those came out clean. And if anybody ever has to replace this from it getting worn out or bent, they are gonna be upset with me. Good luck getting that off. Let's get this back on here. I don't think we should trust the plate either. Look at how much material. Like, that must have taken an hour. Save that as a souvenir. Now I was gonna say maybe he just never cleaned the galvanized off, but this is, that never got coated either. That would have rusted away, but this is ground clean. I'm gonna weld the same metal back on. We'll see how it comes out. I go this way though, because I want to get it down a little bit lower. Might need to clean this out first though. It's from the upside down welding. Again, not pretty. Got some dingleberries, but that'll hold. And I did space it off a touch since I wasn't able to get to the other side. That way we got full penetration. That should do it. Before I go to town, let's make sure it works. There we go. It's resting against the rails. That's nice and rigid. Of course, that'll end up putting imprints in the tire, but it's just a spare. And if you really want, you can put a piece of rubber or something behind there to keep it from giving it prints. I'll weld it the rest of the way. And we will call that good. Would have helped if I wasn't using an oily brush. But yeah, that ain't going nowhere. Also hit it on the inside. I'll let that cool down, hit it with some paint, and that'll wrap this one up. So like always, I thank you guys very, very much for tuning in. Couldn't do this kind of thing without you. Many more adventures coming in the future. See you guys soon. NNKH. Oh, and yes, I'm definitely going to be cutting the back hinges off. I mean, there's no way they're going to hold. So I'll do that at a later time. Well, geez, I guess we got to do the pry test, as it wouldn't be fair otherwise, right? Yeah! Ain't going nowhere. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. See, I put some rubber hard pads in between the frame, too. Got that all painted up. Yeah. Gus, get that turbo. Get him. Get him, boy. Go get him. He says, no, you're pushing me. I'm gonna get you.